Now that we have the candle from Parappa Palace, this opens up the overworld dramatically as we now have the ability to see inside of dark caves. You'll immediately notice this once you enter the first cave, and it's nice and bright. You can see the orange background, and you can even see the enemy louder crawling around the ground. There's really not much to do here, just run across through the cave, and we can actually head straight to the next town now, the town of Ruto. But one of the townsmen is going to say that we need to find the candle. And the candle, it actually gives you hints, is located north of North Castle inside a cave in the desert. So just travel north and you'll see the cave right here. There's three types of enemies inside this cave. The first is an ache here, and they'll just come from the ground, and they're rather annoying. They come from the ceiling, rather. Next we see there's two Octoroks here, and they shoot rocks at you, and they're not too hard. I took some unnecessary damage, but and finally we have a red Goria. And the red Gorias, we fought a similar type Goria before. There really is not much difference between the different types, just the amount of damage and experience they give you. Finally, once we get the trophy, we can now exit the cave. There really is not much we can do here. And we can actually head straight to the town of Ruto right now. Or there's another secret cave southwest of North Castle. And this cave holds a magic container. And we could have actually gotten this magic container before even going to Parappa Palace, but since we didn't have the candle, the cave would have been dark and it would have been a little bit harder to navigate. So all these scenes you're running into here, if you run into them, they're just a bunch of bits and bots, and these guys shouldn't give you too much trouble. Finally, we're at the cave, so go ahead and enter it, and immediately you'll see there's several louders crawling around the floor. Just get rid of them and you'll find several more Octoroks. These ones are a bit more tricky to defeat since they are under where you can actually aim, and you can only hit them when they jump. Pick up the magic container at the end of the cave and you'll see that your magic bar at the top increased from 4 to 5. There's actually 8 magic containers in total, just as there is 8 life or heart containers. And we will be getting all of them as soon as we can as we go through the quest. We can now finally head to the next town at the northwest here. And here we have the town of Ruto. And like I mentioned earlier, it's named after the sages which we see in Ocarina of Time. Or it works vice versa, where Ocarina of Time named the sages after the towns. Either way, it really depends if you're thinking the order of release of the games or like a timeline order. You could talk to the first woman and she'll refill your health. And you can talk to some of the other villagers here. And this guy's a notable, memorable character. I am Air. And we actually, there's something with him later in the game where he actually gives us some advice. The next screen, the first house, has a woman and she says, "You saved the trophy. Come see my uncle." I like how she takes you inside, but then once you enter the house, she's nowhere to be found. Where the heck did she go? But she wants you to meet, there's the old man that lives, I suppose, in this little cellar in the basement of the house, and the old man never moves, and he gives you spells. With this one you can jump, with this you can jump very high, and it's the jump spell. And it works just as you would suspect something like a jump spell would work. When you use it, you're able to jump higher. It works just like the shield spell in the sense it's only used once, and then once you leave the screen, you have to use the spell again in order to be able to jump high. And it's both required in order to get through the main quest, and it's also very useful against certain enemies, especially because you'll have the ability to basically jump over them. There really is not much to do in the town of Ruto, so exit it, and now that we have both the jump spell and the candle, we can head south through the next cave here. You'll immediately come into, there's 4 Octoroks right at the beginning of this cave. These ones are a little more difficult because they're staggered in terms of their levels, so multiple ones will be shooting rocks at the same time, so you'll have to react quickly. Here we have another red Goria, and the trick with these guys is just be very aggressive with them. Just keep an eye out whether it's throwing its boomerang up or down, and block with the shield accordingly, and then strike away with your sword. A couple more louders here, just get rid of them and keep progressing eastward in this cave. You shouldn't be taking too much damage by these guys. I'm sort of playing a little reckless here. There's another red Goria, so like I said, be aggressive with them, defeat them, and now continue to the east. There's a few more of these annoying aches here, and there's also a new red ache, which is known as a ache man. Basically, if these ones hit the ground, they turn into these fire-throwing dragons, basically, that will shoot fire at you. Just defeat them, and you'll come to a ledge where it's too high to jump normally. Use the jump spell, which that's what you need it for immediately. Jump up and exit the cave. Once you exit, enter the bush, little lone bush here on the right, and there is a fairy just floating around. Jump on one of the wooden planks and grab the fairy to fill up your health. There's actually a secret location just southwest of that little rock there, and basically that's our destination. But I ran into a sequence of enemies here, and there's a new enemy known as a Moby, the little birds that are flying at you. These are sort of like tin suits in that they're unlimited, but these ones actually give you experience points. Here's the screen I was trying to get to, and I get a Link doll, which basically acts as a one-up or a free guy. And there's numerous Link dolls throughout the overworld, even inside of dungeons, and I will be showing you all of them as I go through the quest. Now, the next town is to the south, but before going there, we need to meet a man in the forest. And he's located in a specific location in this forest. And really, the only way to really know where he is if you go to the town of Saria first. It gives you hints to say walk through the woods to the north of the bridge or something like that. Surrounding this person's house are these little side scenes. They have these Megmat enemies. And I'll get to them in a bit here. But here we have the character who lives in the woods, and his name is Bagu. Bagu is my name. Show my note to Riverman. I love the broken English, but the Riverman lives in the harbor town of Saria, or water town of Saria, sorry. So we'll get to that shortly. And here are these Megmats I was talking about. They give you 5 experience points when you defeat them, but they could be a little difficult as sometimes they gang up on you. They come in groups. And, well, they're annoying if you're not used to them, but they're, I guess, not too bad once you do get used to them. We can now head to the water town, of Saria. At this point, though, you could technically head straight to the next palace, Medora Palace or Swamp Palace. But we can also go to Death Mountain if you desire. And going through Death Mountain is one of the most difficult portions of the game, especially this early in the game. So you might be better off just going straight to the next palace. It's really up to you what you prefer. I will be going to Death Mountain first. There's a little lone bush here, and it contains a points bag. I'm not going to upgrade my life because I have full life right now. I don't like upgrading when I have full life. Defeat the Megmats and exit the scene. And that's basically going to do it for this section of this chapter. Join me next time when we'll go through the water town of Saria and we'll tackle Death Mountain.